Hello internet, welcome to Game Theory. As you read from the title, I entered my very first manga competition and lost. And you know what? Understandably so. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind. The manga competition I entered was the Kadokawa Wordless Manga Contest. This competition started on October 4th of 2024, so it's been a while. Submission deadlines were on March 1st, 2025, and the winners were announced on April 30th of 2025. And yes, this video is just now coming out. For this contest, you had the option to enter two categories: the themed manga award or the original manga award. You could enter one of these categories or both at the same time. At first I wanted to enter both, but realized I am very slow when it comes to drawing, so I chose to enter the themed category to give myself a challenge. And since I only had 3 months to do this, I had to focus, lock in, whatever the youngsters say nowadays. Here were the rules. The number of pages was between 8 to 60 pages. I did 32 pages. The paper size and the resolution. Now let me tell you, this was a rough journey. This contest was one of the reasons I disappeared from posting on social media for quite a while. But doing this competition while having no Wi-Fi and dealing with a lot of personal issues, I was low-key losing my mind. I didn't know what I was doing. I also got really sick for most of the beginning days of me working on this manga, so let's just say it was a rough journey. Very, very rough journey.
Hello everyone, it's currently the second day of November and I have not been able to make any progress on this manga for this manga competition because I got really, really sick and couldn't even go to work. So here I am laying in bed. I've been trying to make my bed for the past like 3 hours, but I keep laying back down because my head is pounding. But as soon as I get better, I am locking in, I swear to God. It's currently day 3 and I've made this character's design a while ago. I worked on this one today. I'm not done yet and I have to do the full body for Quixote. And this is Sancho Panza. And let's just say I'm still very sick, okay? But I have to work on this manga competition. I have to lock in. I know I should probably be resting right now. I can't, okay? I can't. It's been 3 days into November and I haven't done anything. And I need to. I have my Milanote board ready, as you can see. I will talk about this a bit more later on, but this is important. And I designed Sancho, and right now I think he's my favorite. He's my favorite character design right now. So I did not work on anything else except for what I showed you. Yeah, I couldn't physically do anything else. I am too sick to do anything else. So tomorrow is the 4th. Hopefully I will be able to work on this manga because I only have a month and I'm already 3 days behind. Okay, so far I've got the main character and then I have Don Quixote and his armor design. I'm sorry if they look shitty, okay? I don't care. Here is Sancho Panza. And these two are the same age. They're not 40. They're like in their mid-30s, I would say. I aged them down a little. And on day 5, I did nothing. I wasted one whole day because I just felt too sick to do anything, and I also procrastinated. So day 5, nothing. Day 5, nothing.
The only thing I did for the next 3 months when I found out about this competition was work on my manga. So many sleepless nights, let me tell you. The theme category for this contest was Don Quixote. If you don't know who Don Quixote is or what it is, he was an old knight living in the Spanish countryside of La Mancha, enthralled by stories of chivalry, Enthralled by stories of chivalry and heroes living in delusion, he decides to embark on a hero's journey, and I say that in air quotations. And since it's a wordless manga competition, that means no dialogues or descriptions of any sorts in the manga. And well, I did sort of cheat with this. I didn't put any dialogue, but there were some maybe small letterings in this manga. I couldn't just completely leave it blank, you know? Now let me show you the process of me creating this manga. As you can see, it was a rough start. I'm not sponsored at all, but a tool that really helped me out was Milanote. Made a whole board planning out this whole manga and whatever inspo I could get my hands on. At first I was only going to do 8 pages, but I wanted to expand my story more. I made a checklist on Milanote as well just to keep me on track. Since I was also going to enter the original manga category, I also made a Milanote board for that. So if you want me to make my short manga I had in mind for this category in a separate video, let me know. I will do it. Milanote, if you also want to sponsor me in the future, I will not be opposed to it. Pretty please. Following the list on my Milanote, I sketched out the designs of the monks and the ogres that are mentioned in the story of Don Quixote. Now it's time to practice drawing horses, sheep, and donkeys. The reason I'm doing this is because of Rocinante, which is Don Quixote's horse, and Dapple, which is Sancho's donkey. Why am I also practicing sheep? Because there is sheep in Don Quixote's story, and there's also a whole mini plot including sheep, but I decided to not include that in my manga after all. Now it was time to build some world design, and I'm using Minecraft for this because I do not have time to learn Blender for this competition. I was on a time crunch, okay? Just very quickly, here I am building the mansion that I had for the world building for my manga, and also just a little snippet here and there of me building the town for the manga as well. I couldn't record a lot because if I did, my computer would have probably exploded. So here we are. I'm feeding y'all crumbs. I'm going to give you a tour of the town, or my version or variation of La Mancha that I built in the game for the manga. is the mansion of Don Quixote that I also built in the game. The reason I did this is just so I could have some references for the world I have in my head, and that way I can put it on paper. Time to give my manga a title, and I was brainstorming names for quite a few days and I landed on Fool's Gold. I will explain why a little later. And now I'm going to design an apartment for the main character of my story in The Sims 4. Once again, if I recorded my progress or my process of this, my laptop will explode. But here is a quick tour of the main character's apartment. This again will be used for reference purposes. Now that I have gathered all of my references, and let me tell you, it was a lot of it. Let's start our manga. I did make thumbnails of every page to get a general idea of how I wanted it to look. I'm going to try and explain the story I came up for this content. The main character is a young boy, not a man. Even though he is in his early 20s, he has no ambitions, no life purpose, and he lacks maturity. He works a dead-end job with shit pay, but makes no effort to look for anything new. And instead of being a responsible adult, he spends his money on impulse purchases, instead of paying his bills, has no loyalty, and bended morals. The main character is not a good person. One day, he decides to go dilly-dally, and he ends up buying a VR set that comes with a game. This VR headset was clearly on clearance and was heavily discounted for a good reason. He spends the last of his money on this VR set and goes home to play. Here's a fun fact: the main character is also a fan of the Don Quixote story and will consume any media relating to it since it is his hyperfixation. The game in the VR headset is a Don Quixote game. The main character starts to play the game, and soon what was supposed to be casual gameplay turns into obsession. But this is also no ordinary game. His lifeline is now connected to the game, and there is nothing that could disconnect him. All he does is play the game, and he starts to ignore his responsibilities more than ever, and ignore his loved ones. He thinks he's been playing for hours, but it's been days. The main character is playing as Don Quixote in the game, Fool's Gold, going on multiple adventures, making lifelong friends, and falling in love, but as Don Quixote. More and more days go by, and his friends and family are worried about him, and his bills are starting to stack up. Apartment is starting to look abandoned due to the lack of maintenance, and his body and health is slowly decaying. Don Quixote in the game falls ill, and so does the main character. Don Quixote dies in the game, and so does the main character. Just like the original story of Don Quixote, the main character lived in a fantasy world where life was quote-unquote better, living in delusion that ultimately kills him instead of actually trying to get his shit together, ending the journey of our character's story. Why did I decide to name this manga and the name of the game Fool's Gold? Because the main character thought he found gold when he bought the game, but it was actually pyrite, aka Fool's Gold. Fake gold. I will say the first few pages do look better than the pages worked on later, probably because I was rushing due to the deadline. And on top of that, I do work full time, so there's that. It was just really hard to work on this manga. I have given myself some critique and will definitely say I learned a lot, but I still have a long way to go. I did see that my line art could have been just a tad bit thicker and less stiff, and talking about stiffness, I definitely need to work on my anatomy more. It's not bad, but it could be a million times better. I could go on and on and on about all the mistakes I see from my work, and all I can really do and say is that I need to practice more. And I feel like the more manga I draw and the more I study the manga art style, I will get to the level I want to be at someday. I do want to say that the winners are very, very talented and deserve to win 100%. They did amazing. And honestly, me losing will not discourage me, but drive me more. This won't be the last contest I enter, despite being sleep deprived and rushed. I had a lot of fun doing this. If you want to check out Fool's Gold and read it, well, not read it, well, look at it, look at the pretty pictures. I will be posting it on Manga Plus Creators. The link will be in my description. Here's the cover I designed for my story. I didn't get to add this to my submission when I submitted my manga, but I enjoyed making it anyways. Also, this might be one of my best drawings yet, and I did do this yesterday, so you can definitely tell I've improved a lot since I drew this manga. It's been quite a few months already, so this manga isn't a reflection of my current work, I would say. I do think I've gotten a lot better, but again, I enjoyed making it anyways. And let me know if you want me to make that video of my idea for the second category for the competition. I will do it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.